The scorching Galilean sun, a relentless brassy disk, beat down on the small, unassuming village of Capharnaum. Dust devils danced in the parched fields surrounding the cluster of stone homes, and the air shimmered with oppressive heat. Inside one such dwelling, its thick walls offering a meager respite from the glare, Mara, a young woman whose youth was tempered by the seriousness of her daily toil, bent over a low, well-worn wooden table. Her nimble fingers, bearing the telltale stains of damp clay and mineral pigments, meticulously worked. She was painting a simple, almost geometric pattern onto the cool, smooth surface of a freshly fired oil lamp. The air, heavy and still, carried the faint, earthy scent of damp clay mixed with the sharper, metallic tang of the nearby communal kiln, where the village's livelihood was literally forged in fire. Mara was the eldest child of Eleazar, the village's potter, a man whose hands were as gnarled and strong as the ancient olive trees on the hillside. Her younger brother, Elam, a boy of perhaps 10 years with quick, curious eyes, often sat close by. He entertained himself by tracing figures in the dust floor with a stick, or, when his father permitted, helping with the simpler, more repetitive tasks of kneading clay until it was pliable and smooth. Their lives, like the turning of a potter's wheel, followed a ceaseless rhythmic cycle. The methodical kneading of raw earth, the careful shaping of practical vessels, the anxious vigil as they were fired in the communal kiln, and then, for Mara, the delicate work of adornment. She harbored secret dreams of painting intricate vines and blossoms, patterns that would dance with light and shadow. But the harsh realities of their existence dictated simple, marketable designs. Roman taxes were an unyielding burden, and every pot sold, every copper coin earned, was a small, hard-won victory against the constant, gnawing pressure of scarcity. Eleazar, a good-hearted man with a perpetually worried brow, frequently sighed about the rising cost of raw clay, hauled from distant pits, and the dwindling precious coins in their worn leather purse. Mara often felt a profound kinship with the very pots she created, shaped by external circumstance, fired in the crucible of necessity, and then sent out into the world, her own quiet, artistic aspirations unseen beneath the utilitarian surface. Her world was here, confined to the quiet hum of her work, the rhythmic precision of her brushstrokes, and the persistent, low-grade worry about tomorrow's bread. One particularly sweltering market day, Mara accompanied Eleazar to Capernaum, a bustling port town on the Sea of Galilee. The town's marketplace was a vibrant, sprawling canvas of sights and sounds. The incessant bleating of tethered goats, the boisterous shouts of vendors hawking their wares, the mingled aromas of fresh-baked bread from communal ovens and dried fish laid out on mats, and the chaotic chatter of 1,000 competing voices. Mara sat on a worn, patched mat beside their modest display of earthenware, her head bowed in concentration over a small, unpainted oil lamp. She dipped her fine bristled brush into a small clay pot of ochre pigment, her focus absolute, a conscious effort to drown out the relentless haggling and the persistent, gnawing anxiety about whether they would sell enough pottery to cover the day's oppressive taxes. Suddenly, an almost imperceptible ripple began to move through the dense, sweltering crowd. A hush, subtle at first, like the drawing of a soft breath, then more pronounced, began to spread from the far end of the market square. Heads, previously bent in negotiation or gossip, turned in unison. Conversations faltered, then died out, and a quiet murmur, like the rustle of dry leaves before a sudden storm, began to spread through the multitude. Mara, her hand pausing mid-stroke, a single drop of ochre suspended on her brush, looked up, her ingrained curiosity finally piqued. Through a narrow, fleeting gap that momentarily opened in the dense throng of bodies, she saw him. Jesus. He was walking slowly, deliberately, his presence radiating an almost unnatural calm amidst the sudden, unexpected stillness of the market. A few men walked closely beside him. Peter, with his robust, sun-darkened fisherman's build and a weathered, earnest face, and Andrew, his brother, who was talking animatedly, his hands gesturing as he spoke. Jesus' face was serene, composed. His eyes, deep and seemingly ancient, appeared to sweep over the multitude, not lingering on any one person, but encompassing all, absorbing the raw humanity around him. For a fleeting moment, perhaps only a few heartbeats, Mara felt an inexplicable sensation, as though his gaze, though distant and encompassing, passed over her. It wasn't a direct look, not an invitation or an acknowledgement of her individually, but a quiet, profound sense of being seen, not just as a potter's daughter, another anonymous face in the crowd, but as a soul, a unique being in the vast human tapestry. Jesus didn't stop. He didn't speak a single word. He simply passed, a calm, unwavering center in the swirling chaos of the marketplace, and then, as quickly as he had appeared, he was gone, swallowed by the surging, reawakened crowd, leaving behind only the faint, lingering echo of his remarkable presence and the reawakened hum of the market. Mara returned to her painting, but the market's cacophony now seemed to fade into a distant, muffled drone. The brief, unexpected glimpse of Jesus had left an indelible imprint on her spirit. A strange, quiet warmth settled deep within her, a profound sense of being truly seen, not just by human eyes, but by something far more profound, compassionate, and understanding. The feeling was not of a miraculous healing or a public wonder, but of a quiet grace bestowed, a subtle, almost imperceptible shift in the very air around her. Without conscious thought, her brush began to move differently, with a newfound fluidity and purpose. Instead of the usual simple lines and practical designs, she found herself painting a more intricate, delicate pattern on the oil lamp she held. A pattern she had only imagined before. A complex dance of swirling lines and gentle curves, directly inspired by the fleeting serenity she had witnessed in his presence. When Mara returned to their humble home that evening, the setting sun painting the sky in fiery hues of orange and purple, she recounted the day's extraordinary events to her family. Her voice, usually calm and steady, was hushed with awe as she described the man Jesus. Elam listened intently, his young eyes wide, reflecting the flickering lamplight. He saw the subtle, yet profound change in his sister, the quiet, almost ethereal light that now seemed to emanate from her, and the newfound, intricate beauty in the lamp she had painted. The stories he had heard about Jesus now felt not like distant fables, but real, tangible experiences. A deep, almost aching longing stirred within him, an insistent desire to see this remarkable man for himself, to experience that same quiet, transformative presence that had so profoundly touched his sister. The very next morning, Elam's desire to see Jesus was no longer a quiet longing, but a powerful, insistent urge. He approached his mother, his small face earnest and determined. "Mother," he began, his voice surprisingly firm for a boy his age. "I wish to go where Jesus is. Mara saw him, and I feel, deep inside, that I must see him too." His mother, a wise and discerning woman who understood the powerful stirrings of a young heart, looked down at her son, her gaze soft but searching. She knew the journey to wherever Jesus was speaking would likely be long, tiring, and the crowds often vast and overwhelming, potentially dangerous for a young boy alone. But she also recognized the genuine, profound longing in his innocent eyes, a yearning she could not deny. "Very well, my son," she said, her voice gentle, "but you must take provisions with you. The journey is long, and the teacher often speaks for hours, and there may be no food to be found among the crowds." She moved to their small clay-lined pantry, carefully wrapping several small flat barley loaves and few dried fish in a clean, rough cloth. This was a humble meal, typical for their family, as barley bread was the simple staple food of the poor, readily available and filling. "Go, my son, and may the Lord, blessed be his name, watch over you and keep you safe on your journey."